Hello. This is the 7th and last video in a series about the story and history of the Elite Dangerous universe. In our previous videos, we have watched humanity's exodus into the stars, bared witness to the rise of the superpowers, watched technology and weapons and space travel develop, and had a front row seat viewing what is to date the largest conflict in Elite's history. In the last video, we learnt about the ancient race of the Guardians, whose runes and technology have been investigated and reverse engineered. You may be forgiven for wondering what the ancient ruins of a now extinct race have to do with the battle between the Thargoids and humans. But the truth is that the insight into the Guardians' past has revealed that the Thargoids have been in this universe far longer than ourselves. In addition, the technologies gathered from the Guardian sites have helped to develop and build new weapons which have been found to be very effective against the Thargoids. So let's start with the beginning of the Second Thargoid conflict. It started in 3302. Independent pilots began to discover unknown alien items floating in space, which at the time were not linked to the Thargoid race. It would not be until 3303 that the Thargoids made incursions back into the Pleiades when the very first hyperdiction was reported. The Thargoids were back, and whilst their intention at first did not seem aggressive, their investigations quickly turned hostile if they were provoked. We did not know it, but they were studying us. They were collecting escape pods and other items from space from the wreckages of those ships they destroyed and trying to learn about us. In the same year, 3 very important events happened. The first interaction between a Thargoid and what we had discovered was the barnacle sites linked these two phenomena forever. Professor Palin began his research into the Thargoids from the system Maya, and finally the Thargoids went hostile. They openly attacked 2 Farrago battle cruisers, and since that point the conflict has increased in hostility and nature. The 3 superpowers made a concerted effort to address the aggressive actions of the Thargoids. They formed Aegis. Aegis took the combined resources of the superpowers and established research centers all over the Pleiades. The research combined with their other divisions began to research and develop new ways of defending against the Thargoid forces. Aegis recruited engineers Liz Ryder and Professor Palin and developed the first technologies to identify and combat the Thargoid vessels. These were called the AX scanner and the missile rack. Later in the year, the AX multi-cannon was added to this, and then the remote release flak launcher. Further developments in technology produced the shutdown field neutralizer, which prevented vessels from being affected by the Thargoid immobilization fields. This was developed by the engineer Elvira Martuk, and meant Aegis now had 3 engineers working with them. In December of that year, the Thargoids struck back. They attacked 3 stations which held Aegis labs, and in the beginning of 3304 saw further attacks which were clearly aimed at Aegis and its research operation. Enter the engineer Ramsar. His discoveries with the Guardians brought new Guardian technology which was quickly adapted and turned into weapons that proved very effective against the Thargoid threat. His further discoveries began to make it clear what and why the Thargoids were attacking. It seemed that they had in fact had a war with the Guardians millions of years ago, and all of this was over what they considered to be their territory. Ramsar's research confirmed what many had suspected for a long time. the entire conflict was to do with the barnacle sites. It seemed that the first and second conflicts with the Thargoids occurred because they saw us a threat which had invaded their seeded space. So where does this leave us? The information gained from the recent Eagle Eye stations has allowed us to predict the Thargoids' attacks and make a difference. But the decision to start using automated battleships and what would seem like the universal buildup of arms gives us an interesting insight into how the superpowers are combating this threat. These events in the history of the Elite Universe raise more questions, and I for one look forward to what the game will bring us moving forward. So for now, keep an eye out for more lore and history videos that I'll be bringing out soon, but until then, thank you very much for watching.